I actually missed this banger intro song. We didn't do a live stream for quite a while, but here we are. Okay, 3, 2, 1. What's up, everyone? Ooh, gotta shave. Yo, welcome. Let me pop out the chat. And get that on my screen. Pop out the chat. There we are. Put it on my screen. Voila. Okay, hey yo, it's been a while. Thanks for popping in. Thanks for being here. And in today's live stream, we will go through the higher time frames as well. So over the past couple of videos, I got some comments asking for the higher time frames, my thoughts on the weekly, my thoughts on the daily again. As I have been mainly focused on the 1 hour time frame for good reason, because arguably the 1 hour time frame, the move down since 98k, is gonna decide what's gonna happen on the other time frames. So that's why I'm like focusing on that particular time frame. But I can imagine some people like to zoom out as they are not necessarily too much involved with the lower time frames. So that is what we're gonna do, basically starting on the weekly and then talking all the way down to like the 1 hour 15-minute time frame. Now there is some news at the moment as well, right? So at 2:30 p.m. Central European time there was some news, and now at 4 p.m. as well. So we'll see if we get some additional volatility on the chart. And yeah, good to see many familiar faces here as well. I changed my backdrop a little bit. Besides like some of the stuff you guys recognize, I now proudly build the Red Bull Formula 1 car. So my brother gave it as a present for my birthday, and yeah, I put it together. It's actually you know, it's a big thing now if you think about it. So yeah, you know, it's nicely positioned over here. Very nice next to the Lambo. So yeah, maybe a band-aid. Cheers, man. Thanks for dropping the $5. But yeah, I got it as a present. I actually never like really did something with Lego since I was a little kid. You know, when growing up, I never had Lego and stuff. Like, well, I mean, when I was a kid, but not after. But I love racing. I love cars, and the fact that yeah, he gave me that, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make it. So it took me about 13 hours, but it's finished. I know. Hey, I would also build the Ferrari or the Mercedes. It's just having the car, you know. But hey, Max is Dutch. I guess I'm Dutch as well. So, okay. Yeah, welcome everyone. Iron Odin. Put Iron in front of his moderating name. What's up, Odin Legendario? Tommy, welcome. Live videos are generally like a regular thing. Usually when I like have some time, or I want to talk about things I don't necessarily want to drop in a video. So for example, now we're going to do some higher time frame stuff as well. I can do a video about that, but I thought a live stream makes more sense to explain some more stuff. And besides, live streams give questions, because you can ask me questions, I can answer the questions, and then Mr. Editor, which is Lachlan, he can basically grab your question and my answer, and he can make a short for like from it, so that more people get informed with your question and my answer. So it works in multiple ways. So and besides, I actually really like live streaming, but it generally takes a lot of time. As I always say, yeah, I'm online for an hour, and then before we know it, it's 2 hours, 3 hours. Our record is 6 hours on the channel. It's not gonna happen today, but you know, I love live streaming. I love live engagement. It's a strength, it's a weakness, I suppose. I need to get my coffee, probably multiple during the stream as well. Alexandra Garnist, what's up? Kapul Yako, welcome. Many familiar names as well. J. Jemems, Legendario, of course, always popping in. Stephen, Divine Hood, how are you doing? Also an Elliott Wave analyst himself, by the way. Emre, thanks for your message in Discord. Notification was set. I'm happy you're here. Albert Stalano, OG Trades, welcome. Shengi, Rodney, Zia Sky, good to have you. Good to have you here. Some real OGs, you know. PME. So we're going to start with the analysis. I suppose we're going to start first on the... Are we going to start with the higher or the lower time frame? I mean, there's some volatility now, so arguably it has more of an impact on the lower time frame than it has on the higher time frame. So maybe I'm going to start on the lower time frame and work my way up. Maybe that's how I approach it today. As Doug. What's up, Vedran Magic Dick? Eat, breathe, and bleed XRP. Then you grow up, get a son, and you're all over. Yeah, I mean, got a daughter. So, but she's not this tall, so she's still a baby, 2 months old. Can we take a look at ZEC? I will start with Bitcoin, and then we'll see where we are once I finish with the whole thing. So, that live, great. I'm really enjoying. I'm enjoying that live. I mean, you know, I love the, you know, like hanging out with the kid, walking, of course, the nappies, you know, and sometimes the cries. But I think, like, we have, I suppose, as new parents, we are very fortunate with the baby we have, because like she doesn't cry much at all. Like, sure, if she's a bit hungry, she's like, you know, finicky, or like, yeah, she might have a little cry, but then you pop the bottle in, or breastfeeding, and it's done. So we easily go to restaurants and all sorts of places. We take her with us all the time anyway, and it's made life a bit easier, I can imagine, compared to having a baby that cries a lot. So no, it's, I mean, besides that, of course, it's great anyway. Like, you know, I really enjoy having the baby, and of course it's balanced between like work and you know, but we are kind of figuring that out on the go. So no, it's been great. It's been great, honestly. So far so good. Koenig Wagner, Obi-Wan, good to have you here. Lazy Guy, what's up? A long time no see, indeed. Long time no see. Yeah, some OG names. 2024. I wonder who the oldest subscriber is that joins like live streams, actually. Is it always because of the parents being not allowed? I don't know. Like, my wife and I, we are very, very patient people. We barely ever have discussions. We don't fight. Also during the pregnancy, it was very chill. She's an entrepreneur and I am as well. We manage our own agenda. So I don't know, like, you know, environment may play a role, but some, you know, it's also, I feel like maybe a bit of a lottery. You know, some kids are more colicky, others have more cramps, and you know what, sometimes it's just, what can you do? It's just sometimes just the way it is, I suppose. So, but yeah, non-Elliott Wave guy here. Hey, Darius, you're going to enjoy today's live stream. The parents get full to have another one. I know, everyone says it. The first one, easy. Second one, shit hits the fan. Cheers, BTC Bulls. Nice to see you popping in as well. One of the OGs as well. We will. Thank you, Gagu. Maybe a Band-Aid? Cheers, man. Mate, I have to answer your DMs. But you write stories as well. It's not always easy to keep track of those DMs. Hey, Scrooge. I don't see a lot of green names at the moment anymore because the memberships changed from YouTube to Memberful. But thanks for the support, man. Beautiful blue badge. Okay, let's start. So we're going to start on the 1 hour time frame here, and then we're going to move it to the 4 hour, the daily, the weekly. Okay, so we're going to build up. I'm going to start right now. We are currently how long into the live stream? Let me check for timing purposes. I don't know. I'll have to figure. Oh, there. It's YouTube changed the back end. So we're currently about 12 minutes in, which is fine. So start 1 hour, 4 hour daily, weekly, and then you have a full picture, and we're done. Now, mind you that when I go through the analysis, it's not always easy to check the chat. So just to prepare you. But okay, on the 1 hour time frame, we can make things quite easy. The probabilities are highest. This move down is an impulse, right? 5-wave structure. We are either looking at a finished impulse, or we are looking at a unfinished impulse, right? So that's the choice. Now, before I cover these two impulses in a little bit more detail, generally when trading Elliott waves, right, when you go short and you catch the move down. So maybe someone went short here, maybe here. This was a very high probability short, by the way, over here, as explained in my video, why the probabilities were higher to move down. So this was, in my opinion, the best place or the highest probability short. But anyway, if one caught a short and price moves down, the aim generally for an Elliott Wave analyst is to catch the 3. And then once price starts moving in wave 4s and wave 5s, one should start to consider TPing, exiting, waiting for a new range to form, which is then the wave 4. And if the wave 4 is really like a higher probability corrective structure, right? If wave 4 is ranging and you see a high probability corrective move, you can always re-enter and look for the final leg down in a wave 5, right? But at least you just take your profits and you wait for a new range to form, because there's always the risk with wave 4s and wave 5s that you're not getting another 4 and 5. So if you enter short, you look for price to move down. We start entering the 4-5s, which is like the ranging phase. Is a 5 finished here? And do we look for a larger move back up, right? At least 91.2 is a minimum target, right? But I can see it go to 95 as well. Or do you get another 4 and another 5? Well, that depends on the range. We don't know up front. It depends on the structures that are forming. So from a trade management point of view, it then makes sense to exit, wait for a range, look for a new entry, and then eventually possibly a next move down. But of course, you know, longs also become interesting. Same with an ABC versus an impulse. You have one, I made a short about this, actually it's on YouTube. You have a 1, 2, 3 impulse or ABC. Wave C can mimic a wave 3 in size and in volume. This over here is then the end of C or the end of 3. Now, some people looking for an impulse might hold because they expect a 4-5, but sometimes you don't get that 4-5 and after C price returns and then all the paper profits are gone again. So in that short, I basically say like, it makes sense to exit at the end of a 3, wait for that new range to form, give it some time. If proven corrective, re-enter, look for the next leg down. Takes more management, takes more time, but just you kind of secure profits. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, but I can talk about the approach. You know, so from my experience. Now, then we have the structure. So this is a 5-wave move, finished 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This ABC here, that's for this is your final wave 5 to the downside, creating a low at 87.2K. This was actually on the lower time frame. We'll check that out. A very nice impulse to the downside. It was very high probabilities to see a bounce here and look for a move up. So that was very nice. In the unfinished structure, we counted like this: 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. This is now a lower degree 4. This is a lower degree 5. You're looking for another 4, another 5. In both cases, you're looking for a move up, which is the reason why a long down here was so interesting, because you're looking to finish with this low time frame impulse. Let me show you. You're looking to finish a wave 5, highest probability. So 1, 2s, 3, 4, 5s. Let me quickly open Discord, because of course everything in hindsight sounds so easy. No? Let me scroll up a little bit though. Lots of chatting here. Yeah, so here, so 3-minute time frame, move down into support, a finished structure, maybe one more 4 or 5, but you're still looking for a low to be made around these levels, 82 or 87.8, like 082. That was as like basically like the potential lower level, but this was the finished structure. So looking for a bounce towards the upside, and then you either have yourself a finished impulse and you look for a larger move up where the minimum target is here, the 382. Right, so if you have a finished structure, your minimum target is always the 382, 91.3K, can definitely go higher, right? The invalidation for an A, B, C or a 1, 2, 3 is the high at 98. So there's enough room, but generally the minimum target is 91.3. Or you're looking at a wave 4, but the direction is the same because a wave 4 is also a move towards the upside. It's just a corrective structure, while preferably in a finished structure here, you get a motive wave towards the upside to get the height, right, to move further up. So in this scenario, let's cover the 4. This wave 4, common target is that blue box, which is touched. Preferably a wave 4 does finish between the 2 fib times, 382 minimum, currently sitting on, I mean, it was an hour ago, so 3 p.m. Central European time today. So preferably for this wave 4, we actually create a little bit of a larger structure, just a larger sideways corrective structure. I do want to talk about the guideline of alternation. You can see wave 2 is a sideways shallow structure, right? Increases the probabilities. Wave 4 is a sharp and short structure, but preferably short in time, by the way. Preferably wave 4 then still finishes after the 382 fib time. Time is not a requirement, but it helps with probabilities, right? So we're just observing the move here towards the upside locally. Now, if we go to a 15-minute time frame, this range is very tricky. It's very, very tricky. I counted some stuff in detail earlier this morning, but we have this move here towards the upside, right? Is this corrective or is this motive? If this move to the upside is motive in a wave 1 or a wave A, it has an extended wave 5, which is this. So you count like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? 5 is the last leg is the strongest one, is the one that went furthest. So if this is your 1A with an extended 5, you're looking for a 3-wave correction and price to move back up. Okay, so you want to move back above the wick high that was made here when the news started hitting at 90.2K. And then you're looking for a 2/B. And you look for another move up, and then wave C or a wave 3. Now, an extended wave 5 impulse is not a very common impulse. Preferably, you get an extended wave 3, which is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, but we never got the 4 5s. So this being an extended wave 5 impulse, lower probabilities because it's not a high probability impulse. The alternative is that this is corrective and it's a zigzag family structure, right? So it's like an ABC or it's a WXY structure. Now a zigzag family structure then allows wave 4 to become a larger sideways structure because then this is your either W or your A. You look for a either X or if you go lower, a wave B. And then you look for another leg up in a wave Y or a wave C. In other words, preferably we're not finished yet. In other words, preferably this here or any of these highs is not the end of a 4. Which also means that if you have a finished structure here, you look for like upside. If you have an unfinished structure and you look for a 4, preferably that 4 is not yet finished and you're still looking for a larger range. So you're still looking for a bit of a leg up. Now you might stay inside the boundary of the range and just create a sideways structure. That's fine. It's just that preferably based on time and this mess, it would be nice to go sideways for a little bit longer at least. Now let me actually check something here. Don't know if, no, okay. So with regards to local support, there's an order block here at about 88.5 to 88.2K. So this area of support. I don't really have any great support here except for a volume profile. Value area low, right there. So conclusion of local price action on the 1 hour time frame. As price moved into support, and then we go to the 4 hour, and then the daily, and then the weekly. 87.2K, high probability for a bounce to the upside. Low time frame 3-minute counting showed that this was an impulse. We're looking for a bounce back up, right? Nice move. The question is this finished or do you get another 4 or 5? I would like to give it a little bit more time. I like to give it a little bit more time. Preferably for a wave 4, price still creates a larger structure. And preferably, if you're looking for bulls, you just go up. So preferably we stay in the, like, we don't continue down just yet. from an Elliott Wave point of view. Another thing I like to add is this price action is quite long in time compared to this move up. So that's not nice. Let's just say that Elliott Waves has its benefits and negatives. The fact that this is very long is not very, very chic. Fib time from the start to the end of the move up. Toggle this on. So price here now made another low after the 6 fib time, decreasing the probabilities that what's happening here is directly related to this. But we'll see. We'll see. This is low time frame stuff. This was very tricky to count. So we'll see. But preferably one continues the range here for longer or sees a move up. So that's like the bias. We're still in a downtrend, so the best long position was down here. At the moment, I don't really see a high probability. If I talk about like personal stuff, like I don't really see a high probability long right now. I would like price to go down to areas of support, preferably decreasing volume, slowing down, and then move into support with a bit of like an S structure. So price does this, right, into support. If price just keeps accelerating, yeah, we're looking for lower, right? So there's the potential of this being 1 or A, 2 or B, go down in either a wave C or a wave 3. So we can surely take out that low and continue the trend and then have a finish structure. But bulls are looking for a WXY, very low time frame stuff. Anyway, that's the 1 hour time frame. That is the 1 hour time frame. So finish structure, preferably then motive, 1, 2, 3 or A, B, C. This is now very long, decreasing the probabilities that this move down, by the way, is a wave B or a wave 2. Unfinished structure, look for a wave 4, preferably create a larger range and then go down to lower levels of support. 4 hour time frame. I think I should go through it a little bit quicker. I'll get to the questions in a little bit. I think I'll just roll through everything first. Should probably do it a bit quicker. So 4 hour time frame. Now I've had this scenario on my chart for a very long time already. The WXY, a double zigzag, wave Y can finish at the high. We're looking for continuation to the downside and new lows below 80K. This is your most bearish scenario where you're looking for an impulse down, correction up, and continuation to the downside. And you want to take out that low, or directly, doesn't matter. It's just about taking out the low. Bias is bearish in this particular case. Now for the bulls, it's difficult. Like this range here is a higher probability corrective structure. I've been talking about this a lot in the videos. Like the moment this here was finished and price went down, that's when I said, like, okay, higher probability is corrective. Reason being, the bulls require a diagonal here, which is really awkward to count. First of all, a diagonal, a leading diagonal, is not a high probability structure. It is a structure. We count it. We see it regularly, like we do over here, right? But you don't generally have it as a first choice, like a first pick. It's something that's happens like more like in hindsight. After a leading diagonal, you preferably see an explosion. After a leading diagonal, explosion, right? Like a fast move. You expect an extended structure, right? A move that's fast, a move that goes far, a move that is sharp. If this is your diagonal, this is very slow. It's just sideways, sideways, sideways. Now for the bulls, you would have a 1 or A here at the high for a diagonal. A, B, C. This is then a wave C, right? A, B, C, that's a flat. A, look for price to move up. So the 1 hour time frame, being the impulse to the downside, is relevant for both the bulls and the bears. The bears would count an impulse down here as either a wave 1 or a wave A. They want to see a corrective structure up, 3-wave move, in a wave 2 or a wave B, and then price goes down in a wave 3 or a wave C. The bulls are looking at this move down as a wave C, not a wave A or 1. This is a wave C. And they also look for price to move up. But they're not looking for a 3-wave structure and a move down. They're looking for continuation to the upside. The directional bias, when an impulse is eventually finishing, the directional bias is similar. Because your bias, once you start working on the wave 4s and the 5s, the bias slowly switches from strong downside to, well, we might start to look for a little bit of a bounce towards the upside. What this bounce is going to be, well, we'll have to wait and see. Is it going to be a corrective movement? Is it going to be a motive wave structure? We'll have to wait and see. But both the bulls and the bears are looking for an impulse here to finish, or already finished, but honestly, I would still actually like to finish, like an unfinished structure. Makes a little bit more sense with the local price action and time, as explained, where this, if this is a wave 1 or A, right, and this is your wave 2 or B, your wave 2 or B here is very long in time compared to your wave A or 1, which is not preferred. So preferably, I would like to see a bit of a corrective structure and still another leg to the downside in a wave 5. But once you start working on the wave 4s and the 5s, it starts to be interesting to look for areas of support, look for the potential of long opportunities, right? And you need a good plan for this. But both the bulls and the bears have the same directional bias. And this is why in the past videos, I only focused on this. Because honestly, everything that happened before over here is kind of irrelevant, right? For the bulls and the bears. Sure, the probabilities are higher. This is corrective, increasing probabilities to take the low. But the probabilities can change based on the bounce that you eventually get up. And we don't have that info yet. The moment we're working on an impulse, which preferably is unfinished, then you're looking for a wave 5 to the downside, final leg down, create a wave 5 into support, look for a bounce towards the upside. Right, so that is what we're looking for. And then is this going to be corrective or is this going to be motive? Well, we'll wait and see. No. And based on this, we can make a new plan. So high probability short was down here. Honestly, this to me was not really great, very vague, messy price action. This was much better. Right? And then at some point with the 4s and the 5s, of course, a long down here was nice, but that's now already passé, right? New opportunities when you finish an impulse would be to look for a bit of a bounce up. If the bounce is motive, right? And we can't count a high probability corrective structure to the upside, and we're looking at a motive structure, well, that's nice. You can extend. Price moves further up, one can hold. If the move towards the upside is corrective, it's the same direction, so profit is made, it's just less, and one starts to TP and exit quicker. But the bias is the same. And then for me personally, it doesn't make sense to hold any shorts from higher while we're looking for a bounce towards the upside. Sure, the target might be take out the low with a WXY 1, 2, and 3, but who says that this is going to be a 2? Who knows if this is going to be a B or maybe a larger flat? Maybe it's just going to go up back again. Right? So I like to approach it wave by wave, I suppose. I mean, this is style. I'm not really a very long-term swing trader stuff. So that's the 4-hour time frame. In other words, 4-hour time frame, same for bulls and the bears. You're looking for an impulse to finish and a bounce back up. What that bounce is going to be, well, we'll wait and see. Daily time frame. On the daily time frame, the probabilities, let me move my stuff here because, oops. So on the daily time frame, we explained that the probabilities increase here for this move down to be a 3-wave structure. And that is because, let me show you, that is because of the base channel, the channel that you see on my chart. So if we count an impulse to the downside and we look for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right, or 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, there's a few things we got to keep in mind. The 618 for wave 4s and a base channel. So if we count a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, we take a channel from the start of the second lower degree 1 to the high of the second lower degree 2 to the low. And you can see that the base channel here was passed. Lowers the probabilities for a multi 1-2 and this wave 4 to be related to this wave 2. So one knew that quite early on in this range. Now you can also take a Fibonacci from the end of the lower degree 2 to the end of the lower degree 3, toggle on the 618, which is touched. The 618 serves as an invalidation for a wave 4 as it is incredibly low probabilities that a wave 4 moves to the 618. So not great. Now then you have a single impulse. So 1, 2, 2 has to finish here. 3, 4, 5. We can do the same thing. Channel, start of 1, end of 2, end of 1. Base channel is touched. The upper trend line is touched and broken. Decreases the probabilities for an impulse to the downside. It's not a hard invalidation, but it does decrease the probabilities, as is known in Elliott waves, the base channel. Right? So not great. Now the 618 though is a little bit higher at 102.7, which is not yet touched. So in theory, the probabilities decreased for an impulse down, but it's not hard invalidated. Time is also not an invalidation. I can do a Fib time from the start to the end of wave 2 to the end of wave 3. You can see that the current high is made after the 5 Fibonacci time. Low probabilities, preferably a wave 4, finishes between the green line, the 1, and the 4, which would be here. Obviously, we passed it and we moved between the 5 and the 6. That's not great. That starts to be quite long for a wave 4. So again, it decreases probabilities, but it's not an invalidation. Time is not an invalidation. A channel is not an invalidation. But in the end, what we use in trading, investing, whatever, is probabilities. And the probabilities decline for an impulse to the downside because the base channel is touched and broken, and because this high is made after a 5 Fib time. So I still have the folder, right? I still have the impulse here to the downside in my folders. I can remove the channel. And I mean, we just clean it up like this. So I still have it in my folders because it's not like invalid, but the probabilities are really decreased. No, they're just a lot lower. And then we have the ABC to the downside. So if this is a corrective move down, then I would prefer to see a larger corrective structure, either down or sideways. The probabilities, as mentioned on the 4-hour, are low that this is motive at the moment, right? Where this move is either wave A or wave 1. We'll have to see what eventually happens over here, no? As explained on the 1-hour analysis. But because the probabilities are higher, this at the moment is corrective, you would look for a larger corrective structure between all-time high and 80K or a move down. Now that basically gets you these two, okay? And you then have an ABC down, which is labeled as a W on my chart, not a wave A, right? I could label it an A, but then you need a flat, A, B, C. The problem is that this move is too long in time and not high enough to it's not high enough and it's already too long in time to give high probabilities to the potential of a flat in an A, get a B, new all-time high, and then a C down. Low probabilities, right? We really want the price to move up sooner, right? A, B, and then C, and then W, X, and then get a Y, finish B here. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, correction and up. We didn't get that. So probabilities are higher to look for a sideways or a sharp corrective structure. Sharp corrective structure, double zigzag comes to mind. ABC, W, wave X, and then a wave Y. Wave Y is an ABC. Hey, interesting, because just now on the 1-hour time frame, we were talking about the impulse down. And we're looking for correction up. This move down, it could be your wave A. The next leg up could be your wave B. If that move up is corrective, which we don't know yet because we'll have to wait and see, we're looking for another leg down. That could be your wave C, which is the final leg of the move to the downside, right? Just a side note for the bulls out there that think, oh wow, that's great. This move down can also be a wave 1 of your wave A. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's your A. Look for B. Look for C. And someone might think, wow, that's really deep. Okay, yeah, but we can go down to 2022 bear market, where we had a WXY, a double zigzag to the downside here, where wave Y is really tiny. This is a very nice impulse down. Correction. Nice impulse down. Correction. Impulse. Correction. Impulse. Right? So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wave structure. The number 7 is a corrective number. Not everyone knows this actually, but let me a little bit of education. The numbers 5 plus 4 equals motive wave structure. 3 plus 4 equals corrective wave structure. So if you are not really great in Elliott wave counting, and you just count like, okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're just like counting like just the waves itself, you get to a number. 5 plus 4 is motive because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is an impulse. And if you add a lower degree, you get 9, 13, etc. Right? The more degrees you add plus 4. Corrective, 3-wave structure like a zigzag. And if you then add, for example, a wave X and another move up, you get 3 plus 4. Okay, so corrective structure. So this move to the downside counted as a higher probability ABC. That's your W, that's your X, and that's your Y. Short wave Y, long wave W. Who says that it can't be the other way around, right? Relatively short wave W and get a very long wave Y. Possible. It just depends on what's happening here. And that's why I focus so much on the 1 hour at the moment, because we can start talking about, or we can talk about 70K, 60K, I don't know. On the internet, I see like crazy numbers. Some people are talking about 30K and 38K. Guys, we're at 88K. All right, take it step by step. We'll just have to wait and see what the move up is. I mean, we can shout about the low in, low not in, all that stuff. It's all probabilities. But last couple of videos, I focus on this because that's basically what matters at the moment. But basically, you look for an ABC and a Y. And if wave X can go high enough to at least 103.4K, let me check, because on log it's low. Yeah, 100.8K. If price can move to 100.8K, we have to be aware of the possibility of sideways structures. Right? And if price moves up to even 110.3K, the probabilities are highest for sideways structures and not for, sorry, that was the sound button, not for sharp structures. Currently, price reached the 382, which is too low for a sideways WXY, but it's fine for a sharp WXY. Now, if price would turn around here, and instead of a corrective structure on the 1 hour, it is motive and price moves up, and you go to the 05, you got to keep an eye on both. If you go to the 07, this one is going to be removed. Yo, what's up, Obelix? Nice to see your green name still. So, aware, but basically what we are saying here is, and that's most important for, I suppose, investors, like high time frame swing traders and stuff, the probabilities are low that this is the end of something. So the whole story concludes to, on the daily, probabilities are low that this is the end of something. Probabilities are higher, you're looking at either a larger sharp or a larger sideways corrective structure. What this then becomes, we'll wait and see. And once we start having more information and we can start to end a potential count, that's the moment where it's interesting to do something, right? And you might not snipe the low, but you're sniping probabilities. But at the moment, you don't know if that's the low. WXY might go much lower. If you get a side, for example, if you would get a triangle here, right? Are you going to be mad you didn't buy here? Or are you playing the probabilities? Because if you would buy over here for the end of your wave E, in my opinion, this is a lot more responsible, even though the entry might be worse, it's a lot more responsible, plus better invalidation actually, compared to DCAing stuff over here because you're not yet clear what this is. It can still be WXY and go much lower. Right? But if you go up to 110, you touch that 0.7, and then you're like, okay, now I'm looking for a sideways structure, which means being like around all-time high and 80K, like a more like sideways structure. Interesting. And then with more information, opportunities will present itself. So that's the highest probability. Not finished, like something not finished here, looking for a bigger range or sharper structure. Currently, the action would be do nothing on a daily time frame, basically. But everyone has their own plan. You know, some people just DCA all the way down to 30K. Other people don't. So I will wait and see. What the bulls need, if you look for continuation, is basically a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's no other. Like, again, this is crazy price action for the bulls at the moment, but you basically need like a 1, a 2, a 3, 4, 5, correction, entry, continuation, minimum target, all-time high, potential for continuation. So you might miss out on the first move up, but you wait for the correction. With this, you have now a high probability impulse. Correction should be proven. We'll figure that out if it comes. This provides a much safer entry with a more clear invalidation and then continuation. But the bulls need to do a lot of work still. A lot of work. But then again, on the 1 hour time frame, well, we're looking for a bit of a bounce. So is it motive? Is it corrective? So you can see the value of keeping an eye on the lower time frames and the impact it has on the higher time frames. That's why I've been covering the 1 hour, because this is what it's all about at the moment. I don't really care much about the daily and the weekly at the moment myself, because the 1 hour, funny enough, is going to decide what's happening on the other time frames. And then we get to the weekly. I have some interesting stuff here that I once put on my chart. Let me move this up, move the daily down. Okay, actually, let me move this down. So I think like most of the people were aware. I haven't touched the week, by the way, I haven't touched the weekly time frame Elliott Wave Scenarios in a long time now. So we'll have to see if everything is still up to date. And also I haven't shared a weekly time frame analysis for quite a while now. Reason being that we were looking for a drop anyway, and price is in the drop. So it's not, I've not really had like too much interest in checking the weekly. It's been more interesting to check what's happening here on the daily. So everything on the right side of the all-time high is currently most interesting, because this over here decides what's going to happen with this. Right? We can have scenarios, but again, so okay, the bulls initially were looking for a flat wave A, wave B, and a wave C to the downside. Wave C, a 5-wave structure. Preferably this is now there, this would be somewhere here, then you get the wave 5 down, and that's your wave C. So it works, corrective structure, 5-wave down. In this particular case, you look for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, as explained on the daily time frame, and this is why the daily matters, and this is also, I suppose, where multi-time frame analysis matters. On the daily time frame, we know that a impulse to the downside has lower probabilities because the base channel is touched, the high is made after a 5 Fibonacci time. That's not great. So the impact is that on a weekly time frame, this scenario has lower probabilities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. Lower probabilities because the probabilities are higher that this is a 3-wave corrective structure. Now, if I quickly remove the ABC, what you can do, but it requires price to move towards the upside here, what you can do is put a W, an X, and a Y here. Right? Wave X move beyond the origin of W. That happens. It actually, like the moment that happens, a flat will be the primary till proven otherwise, which is kind of the situation. So W, X, and then a wave Y. Now, because W here is a zigzag family structure, it's sharp to the downside. And by the way, wave W has to be a simple zigzag, which is quite a challenge here, by the way, to count this move down as a simple zigzag. what are the probabilities, but hey, I have more scenarios. You need your wave X, which can be anything, but wave Y needs to be either a flat or a triangle. So you're either looking for A, B, C, or you're looking for a triangle structure, A, B, C, D, E, and then price moves up. So in other words, you got enough time. In this scenario, you wouldn't be finished very soon. And then again, counting this as an A, B, C, quite tricky, quite tricky. The bears initially, so you can see I haven't updated this, initially are looking for a 5, a 3, and a 5. A 5 is still possible, but lower probabilities. So at this stage, you would consider the potential of a W, an X, and then a wave Y. Finish wave Y, go back up. That would be your quote-unquote bear market scenario. So it's again a WXY, just like here. It's a sharp corrective structure. Right? You get a 3, you get a 3, you get a 3, nice and low, and the price moves up. So instead of a 5, 3, 5, it becomes 3, 3, 3, but the direction is similar. Okay. Now, so far, these options are relatively bearish, or they continue to range. Exactly the same as the daily time frame. Now we get to some more, I suppose, interesting stuff. And the weekly time frame, I don't really have a preference. However, let me just start with the conclusion of the weekly, actually, or start. I'm already busy on the weekly, but because the move down here is a higher probability 3-wave corrective structure, the probabilities are higher to still take out the all-time high at a later stage. There you go. Sure, a bear market is an option, right? But Bitcoin is still looking for that high, probability-wise, because the probabilities are lower. This is a 5 due to the base channel and the fib time, right? Probabilities increase, this is a 3. Now, because you get an uptrend, if you get a 3 down, probabilities are higher to still take out that high at some stage. Where in the weekly time frame can take months before you're going to take out that high at some point. Can go down, can go sideways, but the bias would be still taking out that high at some stage. So this would be an extended wave 1 inside wave 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a relatively old faller, but anyway, no overlap between 1 and 4. This has to be counted as motive though, which is really quite tricky to count a nice 5-wave impulse here. Right? I could consider 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this, and that's your 5. And that's your bear market scenario, WXY, and then eventually price goes back up again. So, you know, what's the validity of what I show here? I don't know, like, can we count this as a nice 5? Difficult. A lot of overlap. You can't get a high probability diagonal in here. So this is definitely not the primary. But basically, you need a wave 4. This wave 4 can be a larger structure. That's your 2. This is your 4. ABC down can be the first structure of a larger WXY or a larger triangle, even a flat, which is low probabilities. And you're still looking for price to move up. So yeah, it's a lot about bias. Oh yeah, this one. So I mean, you can see I'm just going through scenarios. The weekly is just not very interesting. There's different. I can put them in order of probability, but the biases still take out the all-time high. Not today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month. Right? You can easily go down bear market and then go up and take out the high, but it's just that's the bias. Right? It's the high time frame bias. We're on a weekly, not on the 1 minute. So I just came up with this honestly, it was more like fun and giggles, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's your 1, WXY and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's your 3, triangle in a wave 4, up in a 5, finish the bull market here and then go down. A lot of people are talking about the bull market ended, and this scenario would basically be create a large triangle, go up, finish the bull market, and then it starts. That's when the bear market actually comes. So people are then looking for it was a little bit of a psychology scenario. Basically, people would look for strong continuation, all-time highs, wave 3, altcoins crazy, blah, 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 blah. and then you create a wave 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boom, down you go. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, interesting. This is low probabilities because the probabilities are lower that on the 4 hour the move here up is motive, but basically multi 1-2, I do realize that on Bybit we had a wick down, maybe some other exchanges, but not on mine. So there was a wick here, so you can't even count a triple. So yeah, weekly time. So when we consider directional bias and we basically summarize everything that we've been saying, 1 hour time frame, we are preferably looking for a larger range in a 4 or maybe something finished. But anyway, by all means, because the probabilities are high, you're working on wave 4s and 5s here, the probabilities are, or the directional bias would be towards looking for also signs of strength and a bit of a bounce. Because that's your 1-2s, that's your 3, you're working on your wave 4-5s, maybe you get another low for another 5, maybe you don't, but the bias remains the same, where after some 4-5s or once you're in your 4-5s, you start to keep an eye on signs of strength, and your minimum target would be the 382 taken from the high to wherever then the low is formed. So the bias is looking for a bit of a bounce. Now that bounce is going to be important because the 4 hour directional bias is bearish till proven otherwise. This move up is higher probability bearish, unless then bounce towards the upside here is going to be motive. That's where the probabilities change. Now we will, of course, we will check it as it happens on the chart, and I'll make videos and all that stuff. So, but because a leading diagonal here, not the highest probability, WXY would have higher probabilities than a leading diagonal over here with a very funky wave 3, which looks like an impulse instead of a zigzag, while 5 is clearly a 3-wave structure. So it depends on the move up. The 4 hour corrective till proven otherwise, directional bias is bearish unless the move up is motive. That's where it changes. So we have to wait and see. Is the move up after your 5-wave impulse? Is the move up going to be corrective, or is it going to be motive? Is this a wave C? Is this a wave A? Is this a wave 1? Well, we'll wait and see. Depends on the move up. So we're just going to wait for the move up. On the daily time frame, the probabilities are highest that this is a corrective move to the downside that started with an ABC, which opens up the door for larger corrective structures, both sharp and sideways. But the directional bias is take out the all-time highs, same probabilities on the weekly. Because when you're in a large uptrend and you get a corrective move down, the probabilities are higher to sooner or later take out the high. The higher the time frame, we're now on the daily, arguably also the weekly, the longer it will take. Price can continue sideways, it can create a larger sharp corrective structure, but the bias is towards that high. Now, on the daily, from a swing trading or investing point of view, nothing's interesting. The probabilities are low that something ended here. Probabilities are higher for either a sharp or sideways corrective structure. We'll need more information to figure out exactly what has higher probabilities, but at least we know that if price moves to 100.8K, we have to be aware of sideways structures, and if price can move to 110.3K, sideways structures are a primary, which then means potential for WX and a Y and then up, or a triangle and then up, which then means that with that information, the retracements after are going to be the opportunities. And maybe the entry positions are going to be a bit worse than what could have been here, but your probabilities are higher. So it's more responsible Elliott Wave execution. And then on the weekly time frame, we have lots of different things going on the weekly, like lots of different scenarios, right? I haven't really been on the weekly for a very long time because the lower time frames are just more interesting. So the daily 4 hour, 1 hour. On the weekly, your bias is take out all-time high, and sure, like you can have a larger move. This is again daily. You can have your WXY, you can have a larger range. It's just that the bias is still looking for up, but this is the weekly. If you're like a scalper or you're on the 50-minute or the 1-hour time frame, this information will be completely useless to you. Like, okay, sure, but you know. So also on the weekly, patience would be required, same as the daily, on the daily time frame. So we're not yet sure if this can go deeper. We're not yet sure if this is going to be a larger sideways. On the 1-hour time frame, we can be sure that after 5 waves, you're looking for a bounce towards the upside. And then the bounce is going to basically decide a lot of things. So that's going to be interesting. So that is that, I suppose. That's Elliott Waves for you on all the different time frames. I think the order block has been touched. It has. There we go. The area of support I spoke about earlier is touched. So yeah, what's happening here? What a messy move to the downside here, right? Like, what is this? It doesn't really make a lot of sense counting this in great detail, I suppose. But yeah, so are there any questions? So we were here with the chat. Let me check if there's any questions. Do you have any? No, I'm not ADHD, but I suppose, and I guess it's for more people, if I find something very interesting, it's very easy for me to focus. And also for content, it's generally best once I start analyzing that I just follow the analysis and from start to finish, do the analysis and then go into questions instead of breaking the video all the analysis all the time with questions that are coming in at the same time. I should actually make a pinned comment that says Elliott Wave analysis start at, I think, 13 minutes or something. So let me write that here and pin this. There we go. Yo, cheers, Define Hood. Your name is green now. Where did that happen? Was that maybe a band-aid? Yeah. So let me see what's going on. Do you have any scenario in high time frame where we take all-time high without taking? Yeah. So those were explained. So yes, I do. Which country are you from? I'm from the Netherlands. I'm from the Netherlands. Joshua, good evening. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. My non-Elliott Wave strategy tells me 87 is a foundational bottom and we only go up from here. So yeah, the 87 low was a high probability long, that's for sure. And now we're at the order block, right? So we have a move down here into the order block, would be main support, and this would be also still another order block. Yeah, this is a very, very messy structure to count. Like what's going on here? You know, like sure, people, so this can happen on higher time frames as well, but people have a tendency to just connect the highs and the lows and be like, it's a triangle. I'm not so, you know, in this is very low time frame. I'm not so sure. There could definitely be some WXY stuff in here, or this is more like maybe like WX, ABC, and a Y, or A, maybe a triangle or something, and then a C, or you know, like you kind of like get the idea, I suppose. So it's just bottom line. It's a very messy structure. I mean, that's pretty clear, you know. I mean, when you look at it, you're not gonna be like, yo, this was very easy to count, right? So there's liquidity at 86K. Is it possible this was an extended B wave down and this is all still 4? An extended B, oh, this, you mean that this is a B wave down? So like A, B, and C? I mean, with regards to a B wave, the question is also if you're looking at a zigzag or a flat, right? Are you looking at a flat ABC or zigzag ABC? the thing for like a zigzag, so if like this move up, right, it's sharp and short in time. And that's the thing. Time is difficult here, because if we use the fib time, the darkest line is a 6 fib time, which is this one here. You can see that after the move up, price now made another low in this range after the 6 fib time, which hurts the probabilities of this being a wave 2 for the bulls. Wave B would be long for a B, but preferably a B is longer than a 2 being longer. So if you have a choice, it's preferably a B compared to it being a 2. You can also cut like WX, ABC in a wave Y, right? Then wave X would be long. So at the moment, this is just a very long structure in time compared to the very sharp move up. Of course, there's news in play as well, right? So we had some news yesterday, which of course may have accelerated the move in time and price, leading to a very short structure. And then you get all of this mess with then the news of today over here. So it's just it's a tricky to count structure. And it's just not very interesting. It's not very clear what's happening, because from a time perspective, it's just very long. The 87K low, like someone just said, where is the message? Like it's a foundational bottom, 87. That's a possibility, right? And that price moves up if an impulse is finished at 87. But it's at the moment, this is very long for a wave 2 or a wave B in time, but time is not an invalidation. So yeah, so no. Therefore, we'll just kind of have to wait and see. What we do see, though, is that this move down also hasn't really accelerated quickly, right? And it is reacting at support. This is 5-minute time frame stuff, very low. I don't really too often go this low. But if you look at the 5 minutes, you're like, what the hell is going on here, right? How do we count this? Is this like WXY, or is there some A, B, C? You know, A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ending diagonal C. Like, what the hell is going on here? You know what I mean? Tricky. Yo, Patron, you have a patron. Welcome back. Ja, I haven't been live for quite a while. So, doe je ook iets anders buiten Bitcoin? Wist niet dat je Nederlands was. The question is, do I do anything outside of Bitcoin? I'm not sure if it's like trading or Elliott Wave related. But yeah, sure, I absolutely have my hobbies. Fitness, calisthenics. I'm gonna go more into calisthenics now instead of fitness. I love running. I have a kiddo. You know, I love to be outside. And yeah, I love going to the mountains. Snowboarding is a really big one for me in winter. I love to go snowboarding, and the mountains are nearby. So you know, I don't live in the Netherlands, so that's a big hobby of mine. And actually bought like some new stuff. I got protective gear for snowboarding, like body armor. Full body armor, upper body, and also pants for the hips and your ass, and knee caps, I suppose you call it, knee caps. So got fully kitted, because I do like to go like off-piste and freestyle. So I need the protection. And got some new goggles because the old ones were shit. So yeah, that's a big hobby of mine, I suppose. Outside of you know, like as an analyst, I love the waves. I'm you know, I always love counting, but I do a lot of things outside of the charts, which I think is a, you know, healthy balance. Can we count a flat with an overshooting B wave to the downside instead of a new wave 5 low? Yeah. I mean, yes. Where this is your A, then you get a B and a C. But of course, if this is a flat, you're going to look for price to move down after. So that's absolutely an option, but you're still going to look for more downside later. So the flat could, of course, be a wave 4 finished, and then you go down in 5. Right? or the flat is a 2. 1 second. Or the flat is a 2, or the flat is a B. So you have a finished impulse, and then you get a flat, and you continue down in a C or a 3. But then the move down, of course, has to be clearly corrective. So a wave B would be a 3-wave move down to new lows, and then reverse without touching the 1.618 Fibonacci taken from this low to this high. So if you touch 85.1, a flat is out. We're not looking for flats. And an impulse, like if we're looking for, so this would be a wave B, and a wave 5 needs to be like this. Or wave 5 is a ending diagonal, but that's lower probabilities, right? The impulse has high probabilities unless a wave 3 really extends very far. An ending diagonal is going to increase in probabilities, but it doesn't beat an impulse. Yeah. Can't the last move up on the 50 minutes be a C? Yeah, so I actually had this question yesterday in Discord as well. So if this is a wave C, right? This is a great question, by the way. I love this question. So if this move up is a wave C, you would basically say, okay, that's A, that's B, that's C, right? Now there's 2 reasons why actually 3 reasons why the probabilities are lower for this to be an ABC. Right? And that is, let me just write that. Number 1 is wave B. Number 2 is the impulse. And number 3 is running flat. Let's start with this. Wave B over here, right, would then be counted as a flat ABC. So that's your A, that's your B, that's your C. But then you count a flat ABC inside a larger wave B flat, which is very low probability. Some say a flat is not allowed anymore once a flat happens in a flat. It's a bit of discussion in Elliott Wave sometimes, but it's just low probabilities. There's no rule that says it's not possible, but it's very, very unusual. So we don't like to see it. But if we end wave A here, and this is your wave B, then wave B on the lower time frames is a much higher probability impulse here. If we look at that structure on the 3 minute. Right? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, low. However, a wave B has to be a 3-wave corrective structure. Right? So a larger ABC flat in a bigger wave B of a flat, not great. An impulse down is not allowed in a wave B. And then even if this would be counted as an A, B, and C, wave C did not take out the end of your wave A here, which means running flat. And a running flat is the rarest flat structure, unless the trend is very strong. Like in a very strong trend, you tend to see some running flats. Like I remember, if we go to the left, 1 hour time frame, there were some running flats, 4 hour time frame here in this move up. We saw running flats. You can also just, like, if you look at the chart, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. Right? There were running flats in there. But over here, locally, sure, this is locally a trend to the downside, right? But a running flat, not great probabilities. Then you're stuck with your wave B looking like an impulse, or wave B is a flat, and that's also hurting the probability. So it just kind of like adds up. It just adds up. And then now we have like this stuff here. Is this maybe a multi-1-2? Who knows? I don't know. Weird structure. Open interest. Yeah, so the higher time frame is done. Primore, welcome, man. Good to have you here. Joan, what's up? What's up? Joan, very active in Discord. Thanks, Primore. I appreciate it, man. Hopefully, during the analysis, there were some bits and pieces that are educational. It's the goal of the channel, not just updates, but also educating. Hello, Koens. How do you see Bitcoin in the macro time frame? Is it possible that we are seeing the end of an impulse? Yes. Oh, time in years. Oh, I didn't go that high. I'm also on the wrong chart for that. I would need to go to the index chart. Oh, I mean, I haven't been on this chart for even longer than the weekly. Okay, so I'm aware of like, I have a couple of folders. We can check them. Of course, the most bullish one is just multi 1-2, right? Like 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and price just continues up and higher, higher, higher. Right, so that is the obvious bull. I guess that's this. So here you go, obvious bull one, and then you have time, price. So this was from an old video. I think it's still on my channel actually, where I covered the monthly time frame and I explained why for me the probabilities were highest to end the bull market between 81 and 176, and why preferably it ends between March 2025 and October 2025. No, I mean, the high is made in October and in between the, like in the box basically as well. So not bad, not bad. So, okay, but in that case, we would be looking for a wave 2. Let me remove the price here from the fibs. You can see it's multiple different fibs that I use. So, and let me just move this to the left. It's messy. Never mind. So if we're looking for a wave 2, what is important here is that the retracements have been deeper and deeper every bear market from a Fibonacci perspective on this time frame, right? So the first one to the 146, 382, 05 makes you wonder, no? That's the white box. 69.9 to 29. I mean, 29 sounds, of course, very low. But if every wave 2 so far has been deeper and price is curving, you can see the curve. I'm sure I'm not the first channel that shows you this. I mean, you kind of start to think like, okay, I mean, going into the 50s, if you have like a bear market, right? If the high is made, going into the 50s wouldn't be surprising. So the 0.5, right? So here 146, 382, 05. Would then the 05 be a minimum target, sitting at 52.4? And if I do linear chart, then we're already beyond it. So I put the 382 on my chart as well, just to have a minimum target, as the minimum target for wave 2 is typically the 382. Now, mind you, on a monthly time frame, things are not the same as on the 1 hour time frame, where on log it's very, very, it's multi-year analysis. So that's 146, 382, 05. But yeah, arguably you would expect at least a 382 to be touched. The 05 is definitely a target. And then because every time we went basically lower, 146, 382, 05, will we get close to the 618, or is the 05 this time going to be touched? We just missed out on touching it here. So maybe this time you don't miss out and you actually touch it. So this is your multi 1-2 bullish count, which still requires a bear market. Then the like this is just folders. I haven't touched these folders in a very long time. So I have a bearish scenario here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Target arguably touched. I mean, let me just move it to the right here. Plops. So the high is preferably made between 91 and 157. Invalidation is 371. I actually don't know why that's red. It's taken from there to 3. Wait, it's taken from the start of 3 to the end of 3 to the end of. I have no idea why this 1 is on here, to be honest. Should have written something down. Let me just remove it. It doesn't really look relevant. So, okay. Very bearish, because then you basically end a 5-wave structure and you're going to go into a very large bear market that people are not prepared for. Ranging structure. So here we have 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5 4 5 4 5, right? So basically you're working on your 4 5s now. The target here is also touched. And now you're looking for a wave 4. Invalidation 19k. Minimum target usually is 67. I could put the 146 on here, which is sitting at 96, which is already touched. Preferably though you touch the 236, which starts at 67. Hey, that's interesting. 67, the 60, 60, 69. Wait, yeah. If we count a multiple 1, 2, the 69.9 is the 382, which would be a minimum target generally for a wave 2. So there's a little bit of bear market confluence, if one wants to call that a bear market, I suppose. The bullish extreme scenario, which I've never been a fan of, is just a bunch of 1 2s, and even here people, I don't understand. Like, people loved counting a bunch of 1 2s here, and I kept saying in my content, I don't know, it just does not make sense to me to count 1 2 1 2 1 2, and anyway, we have it. You know, I prefer the other ones. What's the probabilities? All-time high between 100k and 180k, followed by a bear market. This is the case in 3 out of 4 scenarios. Extremely bullish scenario is on the number 2 spot, lower probabilities. Currently in a wave 3, much higher targets. Ta-da! So I guess that answers the question of the macro. I haven't done a lot of effort into looking for new options and new scenarios on the monthly. It's just things change so slowly there, and I kind of wait for just more information locally before really going back to a monthly time frame. But yeah, that's the monthly. So I should put timestamps in this live stream actually. Yo, what's up, Un? What's up, Obelisk? Even on the 6x against me, I know big players will let the price go that low if they have an average of 75. I mean, I don't know how you know the average is 75. Maybe you're talking about micro strategy. I don't know what their average is. Maybe it is 75, but they're just, you know, one player. ETFs opened over here, which was like the 40k zone, of course, 40 to 50k, which is always going to be an interesting area as well. So, I mean, bottom line, it's just liquidity. Is there enough liquidity up here to keep buying, or do they need to go lower to grab the liquidity? It's a question we'll find out in time if they are happy or not. Ayo, French Koenpotat. Yeah, sometimes. Voila. Veronica, welcome. NBND. We're forming cycle low this week. Stay calm and long. Ooh, cycle low. Wait, the cycle low. Then 80. Oh, you mean going below 80k then, I suppose. I know you can't predict the market. Is it possible to link any time? I guess like during my analysis, I kind of went through time, but if you have any questions, let me know. We're almost at the bottom. Let me just keep scrolling here. 5 wave down. I don't really count this move down. It's very messy. Very messy. Ethereum. I actually made a video on Ethereum recently, which I recommend to check out. We can have a look at ETH in a second. Solana, yeah, same thing. But I'll wait for it looks like it's long and a channel touch. The bear market. So, are we going to use log here? We'll have to see if log makes sense. So in this case, that would be your channel, which is indeed touched. I mean, this is minimalistic now compared to what we have now. We're basically here. But then, as mentioned, the channel is a guideline, right? It's not an invalidation. And consider also I suppose, the context, right, in this particular case. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Correction, very quick move. Now this is either going to be a wave C or a wave 3. You touch the base channel, not great for your probabilities of a wave 4. That is true. And then the next move towards the downside, if this is going to be considered as a WXY, you're looking for at least a 3-wave move down. So ta-ta-ta. But then you get another 4 and 5. And this is then where you're considering the impulse, because now you get a 5-wave down again. So that then gets you the 1, 2, 3, 4 and the 5-wave structure, basically. Till we got the bounce towards the upside. Very corrective structure as well. But yeah, the channels are a guideline. That's also why I highlight the fact, like, it's not an invalidation, but it is very good to know about. It's just that this structure is so long now, right, compared to your 2, but also the channels, it's not just touched, they really significantly move beyond. Yeah, it's a different context. Why did you move? Okay, so the question is, why did I move? I also want to leave the Netherlands, that is, especially after the news that from 2028 onwards, we will be taxed more on stocks and stuff. Oh, I had no idea about the stock stuff, to be honest, but for me, it's just lifestyle. Move to the sun, and yeah, you know, Netherlands is very, like, I love the Netherlands. It's just a lot more gray, rainy. It's very flat. I just felt very boring to me. I love the fact that, like, I'm living close to the mountains. I drive 2 hours and I can go ski or snowboard, you know, snowboarding in my case. I have the beach, you know, weather is a lot more stable. Wintertime, 10, 15 degrees, you know, sun shining, 300 days of sunshine in a year. I mean, yeah. It's lifestyle. It's purely lifestyle. So no. What do you think about ending diagonal on the weekly from 49K to all-time high? Cover that shortly in the analysis on the higher time frame, but that would be kind of like your only way to end something here. So you would need to do this. What do I think about it? Ugly, because this looks like an impulse to the upside instead of a zigzag structure. Like, basically, this has to be an ABC. An ABC would preferably be right? It's definitely, it looks like 1 2s, 3, your 4 5s go down. So that makes a ending diagonal a bit of a tricky, not the greatest probability scenario. But then, of course, that would indicate that, well, could this then be your wave B or X? If so, you're looking for a wave C or a larger corrective structure. But the thing is that when new information comes in, sometimes this is just the way it is, and it has to be counted as a 3, or maybe there is some like extraordinary motive wave, whatever structure in there. Like, there has been cases in the past where Bitcoin has a little bit of a tendency sometimes to end with a bit of a 3-wave-ish looking structure. What chart am I now? Oh, wait. I think over here, I have to go to a lower time frame. I'm on the weekly, but this wick was a move down, so this looks 3-wavy as well. And I sure maybe that was a triangle or whatever. But, you know, there's always the potential that you end something here. So the thing is, this is something you'll see me do a lot, but I can recommend it. Is you create a high here. Is this a wave 5? Is this maybe a wave B? Is it maybe a wave X? Well, what does it depend on? It depends on the move down, no? So instead of holding on to, oh, this must be corrective. This must be corrective. There's no way this is motive, right? Some people have very strong opinions on, oh, this has to be corrective. Or they say this has to be motive and it's the end of the bull market, etc. Instead of holding on to something that happened before the most recent high, I just focus on this. Because honestly, all of this doesn't matter. Bottom line, the price action here will decide what happens, not what happened there. So you can count, maybe it is an ending diagonal and that's a 5. and we go into a larger bear market. Right? Maybe this is a WX and you're looking for a Y triangle. Right? Maybe this is a wave A, B, and you go for a C, and then you go up and you continue. But in the end, it's the price action over here that will decide your fate. So it doesn't really matter what happened before the high. And again, sometimes structures are just not nice, but they have to be counted that way because there's no other option. But then the new price action will basically tell us what this is. So the information on the right side of the all-time high will tell us what happened before the all-time high. We just patiently wait to see what forms here. So this is also why I focus a lot on this. And I do this on multiple time frames. I do this quite a lot. I isolate structures. So for example, on the 1 hour time frame here, I've been focusing on this instead of focusing on this. So the past couple of videos, I only covered this because honestly, everything here is very irrelevant. Right? It's about this move down. Is this a C? Is this an A? Is this a 1? Depends on the bounce. But in all of these scenarios, you expect that bounce. So trading wise, I suppose I'm more practical. I'm more like a practical analyst while I share my analysis, but I'm practical, meaning the way I share my analysis, like if you're looking for a bounce, looking for a long, but in all of the cases, one would look for a long. If this is a wave C, you expect a bounce up. If this is an A or 1, you expect also a bounce up, but it's corrective and you go down. But the directional bias is the same. In both cases, you're looking for a bounce up. What the bounce is going to be, well, we'll wait and see. We don't know. But you're still expecting that bounce, right? Is 5 already finished? Do we get one more low and then price moves up? It doesn't really matter. As probabilities are highest, you're looking at 4 5s here. 1 2s, 3, the beginning of your 4 5s, or 5 already ended, right? We had a count on the 1 hour that ends here as well. But you're basically already starting to look for signs of strength, support, etc., etc. Even if you go down again, one would expect one more 5-wave structure and then a bounce up. So this is what matters in the range. Because I can say, and that's also what I highlighted in the analysis, I can say, okay, this is a high probability corrective move, look for the low. Okay, that's true. But the probabilities might change depending on the bounce. So that is why I'm more focused on what's happening here compared to anything before. And if the move up is motive and price breaks above this high, then this is not going to be a WXY. Then we have to consider maybe diagonal ABC and price moves up. And then this is either a wave C or a 3. But that then has implications on the count on a daily or weekly time frame. So I'm generally really focusing on the practical side. Like people like, maybe they're looking for 80K and they had a great short position here and they're trying to hold on to 80 or 60 or whatever. But hey, if you're looking for a bounce up here, once an impulse kind of starts to finish, I mean, everyone has their own plan, but I'll be out here and I'll be like, cool, happy days, was a nice move. The next one up, the question here is, if this is corrective, I'll re-enter, I'll join again, because now I have proof, right? If this is corrective ABC, correction ABC, corrective movement, WXY, if this is proven corrective because we can't count the motive wave up, look for shorts, look for a move down, look to take out the low minimum target, potential for continuation. And we'll be observing this move, right? If the move to the upside is motive, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, correction. And you go, I mean, then you're like, oh, wow, I had such a good entry, but I was looking for 60K. And now I have to close at break even because I fucked up, right? So and this is, I suppose, also personal trading management and people's own plans. But when a move to the downside is coming to an end and I'm looking for a bounce in both bullish and bearish scenarios, I'm not interested in holding a short. I'm interested in looking for longs. And sure, if there's going to be a lower degree wave 4 here, 1, 2, 3, maybe another 4 and a 5, if this is a 4 and it's proven corrective, oh well, we might be able to find a new short entry and price goes down, and we look for the wave 5 to end, and if 5 ends, then we look for price to move up. You see? So it's just a lot more practical analysis instead of more like wishful thinking, I suppose. That's also why I generally talk about directional bias more instead of specific Elliott Wave scenario. Whoa, sorry. Water. So instead of specific Elliott Wave scenarios, I don't often say this one scenario has the highest probabilities. Some people may find it annoying. But what I do is the directional bias is highest for price to go up. Because we're looking at a finished 5 or one more 4 and a 5. That's fine. In both cases, we're looking for price to move up. And then maybe you get another 4. Okay, but then we observe the range. So the directional bias in both the bullish and bearish scenario here is up, right? Even if you make another low, doesn't matter. You're looking to finish something here now. And then what happens after? Well, we'll see. So I very much take it like step by step. Right? So if this, wow, my voice. If this turns into another 4 and a 5, and we get that bounce, then we're going to see what this is. I'm not going to say up front like this is going to be corrective, because maybe it's going to be motive. We will take it as it comes. As new info comes in, I'll be there to tell everyone what I see and the probabilities and the directional bias. So yeah, step by step. So that also means that like looking for a bounce up, I mean, a swing short now, it's less interesting than when price was at 95 or 93. Yes, that is true. Absolutely. but I like in my case, why would I hold the short from higher while longing the low if I can have more profit closing the long, or sorry, closing the short and getting the long? Because I have a long and a short at the same time, and as the long is printing money, the short is losing me money, right? So I suppose like you can like and there's another thing, of course, like you also have hedging, of course. So some people go short. It's a very big position, okay? And they are hedging all the time. Now, you also have people that go short. They have a very big position, but they just prefer to close and then they look for their long. So you can have a swing and you have a short here, and then every bounce, maybe you go long, you long. So those are like hedges. But then as we are now approaching the end of a structure, which means that after 5 waves, we're looking for a bit of a bigger move towards the upside, right? We're not generally looking for a very shallow movement. You're looking for at least the 382 to be touched, which at the moment would sit at, I'm on the log, wait 1 second, go off log. The 382 at the moment would be minimum, which would sit at 91.3, and if price goes down a bit, of course the 382 is lower. But that's a minimum target, right? We could easily go to this range, works as an order block, or you go down like back to 95. And then you're here with your short. But if the probabilities are higher for a bounce, why would I hold on to a short? Now I could be wrong, right? And price just does this, and then I miss out. That's the risk. But I of course I do my analysis, and I trust my analysis. So if the probabilities are higher, looking for a bit of a bounce, then I have no interest in holding a short. But what I can do, and this is again like I suppose where skill matters, right, in Elliott Wave. So if you get another wave 4 here, I'll be able to prove it's corrective. And if it's higher probability corrective, I'll get a new entry and look for the final leg down in the 5. So I may have closed then what's happening here, but I'll re-enter and look for the final leg. Close the final leg and then look for that long. And so yeah, you of course you can hold on. It's just like for me, it's a bit of waste of paper profits, because if I do my analysis, I'm not like this. I don't really like to say this, but with my, if you go through the videos and you listen to my directional bias, like the conclusions and stuff, I'm not often on the wrong side. So as I trust my analysis and I'm looking for a bounce, I just don't have interest in looking for or holding on to a short, because I'm going to give in paper profits. I could also just close here, and if and then I secured the profits, and if it's a nice risk roll, I'm not looking for a 1 to 100 RR, right? Give me a 1 to 2, give me a 1 to 3, right? If it's a good Elliott Wave setup and one holds, 1 to 5, maybe a 1 to 10 if you're lucky sometimes. I'm not here to like, consistency to me matters more than trying to get the peak ones, right? And I happily close with a 1 to 3, 1 to 4, look for a new opportunity, which in this case would be looking for then moves up, right? On a 4 hour. Is 5 finished here, 5 finished there? In both cases, we look for a bit of a bounce. So look for signs of strength, know your plan, know your entry requirements. And if there's a setup, there's a setup. If not, then not. Yeah. And if it's corrective and we're looking for another 4, I'll try to look for a new entry. But in all cases, I'm happy. I'm not really it's also the type of trader. I'm not really a long swing trader, So I prefer consistency over extremes, I suppose. Yeah. But I mean, everyone will have their style. What I do can be wrong in the eyes of others. They're like, mate, why don't you hold on? I mean, come on. While other people say, oh, that's actually very smart. I think like it doesn't really matter how you manage it. If you make money, who am I? Who is someone else to critique what you do? Like, you shouldn't care. You're happy, be happy. So if people hold here and price goes all the way down, that's perfect. I mean, if people go short here and their stop loss is now over here and price does this, it's not very smart. But if they are like a consistently profitable long-term trader, then who am I to say like, yo, you really fucked up? No, like you had a plan, you executed on your plan. If your plan is proven profitable over a period of time, a loss is just a loss. It's just part of the plan. You don't have a 100% win rate, at least not many people do. So losses are part of the plan. And if you just repeat your plan consistently, you will have losses. But hopefully, bottom line, you'll have more RR win than losses, right? You can have more losses as long as your risk to reward is better. Right? You can have 51 losses and 49 wins, but if your RR is, you get where I'm going. So, yeah. Which price we bounce? I mean, currently at 88.4K and the low was at 87. So this was a high probability bounce. I mean, for the bulls, by the way, the longer price goes sideways here, the better it is. So because what the bulls are what the bears are looking for is strong continuation. So in other words, for the bulls, the longer price sticks around here, the better it is, as you are then looking for at least another leg to the upside. So the longer the range, the better. Preferably you kind of change structure, because currently it's just like bearish market structure here. So, but the longer price goes sideways, the better it is for the bulls. The bears want to minimize the size of the ranges. The bulls want to increase the size of the ranges. Reason being is that in a multi 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 down, preferably each new 1-2 is a little bit shorter in time and price compared to the higher degree 2. While if we are looking to end something, you generally get a sharp move and then the ranges become larger. And then you start looking for a bounce. Yep. So that is the why behind why we're preferably looking for the bulls are looking for larger ranges. Where's my chat? There we go. So, and also, by the way, here where we are now, this is an order block on the 15. So that's why I have the white box on my chart. So it's just an area of support. Yeah, so how long did it take you to learn Elliott Waves? First of all, thank you, Faraday. Very kind words. So it took me 2 years to be very comfortable with Elliott Waves and trust myself, I suppose. I guess the word trust is kind of important. After 2 years, I felt like, okay, I get the hang of it. You know, I got it. I got the hang of it. Not get. I got the hang of it. Now I still improved since then. Like, you know, you always learn something, and the more you're in Elliott Waves. But it took me 2 years. Yeah, I learned everything myself, just internet. Like no, 1 second. I had no like Elliott Wave coach or all that stuff. Honestly, I was very new to the industry. Like I got in touch with Elliott Waves in my 2nd month. I didn't even know what Bitcoin was and the charts and how everything worked, but I already heard about Elliott Waves thanks to Beerabit, by the way, who is in the Discord community still to this date. And I very quickly moved into Elliott Waves without even knowing anything else. So yeah, I didn't even know about like Elliott Waves, Elliott Wave International, Frost and Prechter. I had no idea. So I just Googled online and looking and searching and reading websites and studying, and yeah. So I learned Elliott Waves myself, which of course slows the progress, I suppose, compared to if I found or if I knew or found someone that could help me with Elliott Waves, but I didn't. No. Honestly, everything you need is online, of course. It's just not as structured. A good website that I can share, though, if you want to just roam around for free, a good website is this. It's in the description. There's a link tree. This is the button Elliott Wave website, EW website, and you'll get to this website. I'm not affiliated with whatever the company is behind this. I just think they have a good website. Now, can I design this better and write this better? Absolutely. But nonetheless, it's a great place to start. It's one of the better ones out there. I guess like about 90% what you read here and see here would be correct. So this is, let me just share it in the chat so you don't have to go out of this. Let me just do this. So yeah, this is a good one. And this is probably, I mean, this is the one I use the most by far. Because I also relatively quickly figured out that some Elliott Wave websites actually have quite a lot of mistakes in them. So, and this one doesn't have those mistakes, but it's also not like 100% complete. They don't talk about time. Maybe some of the measurements might not be 100, but this is definitely a good place to start. If you're new, I recommend going here, and you know, you'll be you'll have a good foundation, at least. And then also on YouTube, I have a playlist, so it's also completely public. So you go to the YouTube channel. Compendium is coming soon as well. So Elliott Wave's beginner's guide, right? All the theory, kind of like what you need to know, is in here together with some additional stuff. So, but these videos are short, very concise, very short in time, a lot of information packed in just a couple of minutes. So in the beginning, if you don't know Elliott Waves and you're going to watch one of these videos, you're going to be like, what the fuck did I just watch? I'm out of here. It's going to be scary, you know, because I'm like rambling like, okay, this is a 5-wave structure. These are the Fibonacci targets. These are the Fibonacci time targets. These are the extension targets, and I'm done. And you're like, what did I just, you know? So it's probably good to at least have a bit of a foundation and check out the website first before before jumping into the videos that I made there. We are working, as you've seen on the banner of the channel just now. We are working on a compendium. Yes, the plan was to have it out before Christmas, but that didn't happen because there's so much work to do, and I'm reading through the compendium. I'm improving it. I mean, even last night I was working till past midnight to improve things on the compendium textual wise, and I'm getting there. I'm getting towards the end, and then it goes to the editor. It just takes a lot of work, and it's endorsed by, and that's really cool. I haven't made an official announcement on what Mr. Prechter said, but this guy, where's my OBS? So I actually know. Yeah. So Robert Prechter, the writer of what people call the Bible in Elliott Waves, he has never given a cover quote to a book. I think he wrote the introduction of the book of Kennedy, but for the compendium, he has written a cover quote. I mean, not even a cover quote. It's a quote that it doesn't even fit on the cover. It's like 4 or 5 sentences. And it's such a nice quote, like so cool. It's so cool that he gave a quote. So it's endorsed by Prechter, the compendium that we are developing. It's getting towards its end, yeah, his quote will be on the book. Like so, it's a very big thing in the Elliott Wave niche because it never happened before. So that is the update. Yeah, so on the compendium, I'm reading through it. I'm currently, I mean, out of the, I have it over here. Let me check. What page am I now? I'm like around page, so the thing is like, it's very graphical, so not always a lot of text, but of course, like, it's very graphical and very analytical. So I'm around page 32-ish, 33 out of the, how many do we have? And this is A4. The designer with the design, it's gonna be double. So you can expect a book that is probably going to be about 120-ish pages, A4 kind of size, right? Like so large pages. Let's see here in this document, which is A4 style, is 64 pages. So I'm like 50% in. However, most of the text pages are in the beginning, and now I'm more into the graphical pages, so less text, so it goes quicker. But there's still a lot to pay attention to. So yeah, but yeah, so that's the file that we work in. But the designer with the design of the book, which is really cool design, is gonna double the amount of pages because of like just the graphics, white spaces, more organization, and we just crammed as much as we could on one A4 page in our document. So yeah, you know, it's gonna be nice. So it's gonna be about like 110, 120, whatever pages. Cool, Alexandria. Can't we consider 87700 as the low of Roman wave 3 and then a flat in wave 4? And we're finished even time wise. It matches the Roman wave 2. Yes, that could work. I mean, if price takes out this low, creates a B here and then goes up, we would have to consider this as a first structure of an A and then get a B and a C, because otherwise this is so long in time. Like if we still want to get a B down here, wait, yeah, okay, you can see my chart, right? Yeah. If we still take this low, grab a B and then move up in a C, if this is A only, right, and all of this then is B, your B is really big compared to your A, which wouldn't work. So if price takes the low, would create a B and move up, because the move down would be 3, 3, 3, let's say a double zigzag, right? And then you move up. I would count this as an A, and then this has to be some running flat-ish, like wait a second. Wait. Wait. What am I doing? Wait, A, B, wait, A, B, C, and then we have this, A, B, whatever B is, C, that's lower degree, that's this, that's this, that's that, that's your wave C. Okay, okay, do that, do this, do this, do this. I mean, the problem here is that A already moved below the low. That's not great, to be honest, but you know, it's not an invalidation. Then you have your A, so we could do something like this and then that, and then what the hell is so we have then A, this has to be a B, whatever that B then is. I mean, or B just finished here, and this is just like maybe some 1-2s, and then you're working on your 3 and then 4 5 4 5 4 5 4 5, and it's like A, B, a slow C, grab the low, move up. Do not take 86.7. That would be a problem. And then go up for your C. So is it an option? Yes. I would then count it probably this way, just to make sure I have a zigzag A, B, C. I mean, C is now really big compared to A, so maybe therefore I would need to move the B, and then this has to become a sideways structure of whatever. That's the B, and then a C down. You know, you kind of get the idea, I suppose. It's still from a price action point of view, the bulls just want to have a longer range here. The longer the range is here, the higher the probabilities to either get a bounce or move into a larger sideways range. So the bulls want price to slow down here. Right? The longer the range is, the better for the bulls, because this range is then going to be, for example, like WX, could be an X and then a wave Y, but that would be bullish because you're looking for price to then move up in a wave C. I mean, bullish. You look for another leg to the upside, right? So you're not like going straight down. The bears, if they're the bears that are looking for just downside, they need price to accelerate. So preferably, what you then see is maybe 1 2 1 2 and boom. By now, because the range here is increasing in size compared to what we had earlier in the move down, arguably the probabilities start to increase to look for a bit of a bounce, whatever that is. Is that going to be a 2? Is it going to be an X? Is this going to be A, B, and C up? But the longer price stays here, the better it is for the bulls, as the probabilities decrease that this is motive. Unless it's a multi 1 2, by the way, but you're not looking for 1 2 3 4 5, you know, like not like straight continuation. So you're still going to range a bit longer before you eventually stop it. But yeah, it's very, very messy price action, of course, like this here. Oh, well, like very messy, very sideways, very long after this. Jeez, not great, not great. So yeah, that's an option. I can see a flat. Flat, of course, definitely a common structure for a wave B. Like basically structures that go that retrace quite close to the origin of the wave 4. That's common. Triangle, flat structures, WXYs, zigzags generally lower probabilities in a wave 4. So yeah. Christmas which year? It's not going to take that long. We're aiming for March now. Oh, Leo printing, by the way. Oh, we need to check email again. I need to send them an email tonight. Well, oh yeah. So on Ethereum, I actually made an update recently. I'm moving around my windows here, my OBS and so. So Ethereum, I made an update on ETH on the daily. This one here, 8 days ago, which I can recommend as on a daily time frame. Nothing really changed. So Ethereum it's in like a similar boat as Bitcoin. Let me shortly go there. But it's and I prefer to keep an eye more on the daily. So the conclusion on Ethereum, maybe I still have the conclusion here. Oh no, I didn't. Okay. So anyway, the conclusion is that the probabilities are higher on ETH that this is corrective, not motive. Increasing the probabilities to still look for the all-time high, right? Increasing the probabilities that whatever is forming here, right, on a high time frame structure, so either WXY, that would be very bullish, but it's difficult to count that. I prefer counting an ABC to the downside, which opens the door, just like Bitcoin, for a WXY structure or a larger range before moving up. But the bias on ETH on the higher time frames is looking for upside at the moment, where this is your most bullish scenario, looking for a 2. 2 has to be corrective, and at the moment the probabilities are higher this is corrective compared to it being motive. Here you look for a motive structure, WX larger flat in a Y, you need a motive wave down. Also the bears also need a motive wave down, 1 2 3 4 5, right? 1 2s 3 4 5s. It's just very tricky to count this as a high probability motive wave due to the amount of overlap that's going on in this move to the downside. So generally with an impulse, you like see your overlap in the beginning, you see a fast 3, and then you have overlap in the end, creating a gap. There's no such thing going on here, right? Like this is really, really, look at the mess, like large range in the middle over here. Where does this come from? You know, so it looks very corrective till proven otherwise. So the bulls are in favor till proven otherwise. Doesn't mean you can't go down. It means just that the bias would still be looking for all-time highs when this is finished. Same as Bitcoin, probabilities would not be great to have a finished structure at this low. Probabilities would be higher. It's unfinished, so either a larger structure or larger sideways, you know, deeper or more sideways, and then figure out at a later stage what it is exactly. So yeah, let him cook. Is it possible forming a higher low would a foot tactician? Is it possible? Is forming a higher low, what would be the scenario on a BTC if price forms a higher low here, right, and now moves up to take out this high? You have to consider a wave A, wave B, wave C for the bears, and for the bulls A1, A2, and a 3. So that would be, you know, if you create a higher low, and that's of course an if, because you need price to take out this high to say this is a higher low. So yeah, and then that would be the count, and depending on the impulsivity and depending on the volume, the extension, we'll figure out what's going on. Odin, to see him do this every morning, grabbing Lisa, where yeah, that's true. What I do in a live stream is basically what I do every morning for Elite. So if elites have questions, I answer them in a video. Every morning I make a video, generally between 20 minutes and 1 hour, depending on the amount I'm covering. And I basically share the how. So I share how I'm counting, what opportunities I'm looking for, new levels that I put on the chart, educational bits and pieces. So I'm educating on certain structures or trend and turn or some Fibonacci stuff, whatever, depends on the questions as well. So I do that. I make videos every day, sometimes not for YouTube every day, because maybe, you know, not too much happened on the chart, but I don't, the weekend, during the week, every day for Elite. Yeah. Where's the best to learn more advanced Elliott waves in your opinion? Do you learn that? Yeah, I do. I mean, first of all, I recommend the community anyway. My Discord is completely free. I really dislike paid Discords, like only a Discord where you can only enter if you pay. I don't see the benefit for that for nor the community nor the creator. Like my Discord is free. It's always been free. Like there's so much going on in the channels. Like Bitcoin TA is always is always a meme show, but also very relevant analysis and news and whatnot. Bitcoin Elliott Wave only channel here. But I mean, chat is on my window. So This is currently the update section for like, that's the entry sub. This is the elite area. That's where I make my morning routine videos. But there's so much going on, and there's a lot of people in here. I don't know how many at the moment. How many people do we have? Almost 5,000 people. Hey, Odin, Odin, Odin. What the fuck? I leave the honor to you, okay? I leave the honor to you. we got a little thingy here. So that's not me. So anyway, you know, like we got a lot of people in here. Most people are lurking, or they're just reading the chats, of course. They're not always interacting. But there's a lot of going on. Like, I don't know, like the day started. Look at me scrolling. The day start. This is Bitcoin TA. This is 8 a.m. in the morning. Holy. So this is, we're still not finished here. What are those gifts? You gotta love Bitcoin TA. This is the most active group. Okay, so this is basically midnight. Yeah, here, midnight. So this is where the day started. And then all of this stuff spoken today, news, chart, like analysis, some random bullshit always comes by, but that's allowed here as well. Bitcoin TA is a really fun place. So this is only today. I don't know the amount of messages. You know, I'm not counting this, but yeah, you kind of get the idea. I'm just past noon now. So, and then we also have Bitcoin Elliott Wave only active group where people share the Elliott Wave analysis. We have Ethereum, Others TA, which is just generally not crypto related, altcoin, psychology channels. Like, it's completely free. Anyone can join Discord. Anyone can engage and learn and chat, ask me questions. Just tag me with @KoensTrading. You know, I'm there as well, but I mostly hang out in the lounge here. But yeah, okay, here we are. We're down. So yeah, you know, it's fun. And I do really believe in a community helping you to learn quicker. You don't need to pay to learn Elliott Waves. Like the community is completely free. You just join. Some people that have an account shorter than 24 hours get auto banned because it's scam protection. So apparently that KoensTrading guy that came in had an account older than 24 hours. But yeah, I think it's very valuable to be part of a community. I think it really helps the development. And of course, one has to engage to learn. I mean, you can also learn just by reading, not gonna lie. There's a lot of info being shared if you go through Bitcoin Elliott Wave and stuff. And of course, there's paid stuff. There's courses from other creators. I have a membership, right? You have Elliott Wave International. Like, there's many places, but you got to find someone you like, and you know, if you like the style of a certain creator, you probably get drawn more to the courses they offer or the membership. Like, I have entry membership, which is more like updates during the day, and I also have the elite, which is very much focused on education. So every morning I make a morning routine video, I answer questions, I'm more active there. But if you maybe like Green Star Trading more, or Iliarte, or X-Force, or are there any others? Don't really, you know, like the South African. Oh, how can I forget your Daywald? He learned from me. So Daywald was a student in my community, learned Elliott Wave, started his own channel. So you know, like, but it kind of depends on where do you like, who are you attracted to? Not like physically, but more like the style of analysis, the amount of knowledge, and etc. And then you'll find your spot. You know? In the end, we're all in this industry. Everyone does their own thing. You just gotta find someone you like, and you can learn from. And like Elliott Wave, you can learn it for free. You don't need a course or education. It just helps with the speed of learning. Right? You will increase your speed of getting where you want to be. But you can also just do it yourself, which is what I did back in the day, as I didn't even know there were courses. And when I started, there weren't many creators doing specifically Elliott Waves as well. So, and it took me 2 years. So I just did some Ethereum. Odin, actual Elliott Wave question. Since we didn't take the low here now, Can this now be a 1-2? Yes, would be a very long wave too. So that's what I don't like. What I don't really like is the time of this versus this. In theory, you can, like, time is not an invalidation. So yeah, I mean, this could be an impulse with an extended 5 followed by a 3-wave correction and price moves up. Wouldn't be my highest pick, like the highest probability pick. It's because of time. It's just so large now, which really also starts to make you consider the possibilities of having a larger range that maybe started here and you just go sideways. A, B, C. Well, I mean, yeah, you know, A, B, C, D, E would be a very funny, wonky triangle, to be honest. But yeah, this is just interesting. Link. Oh wait, link to the Discord. Oh, thanks, Jeroen. Appreciate it. Papa, Discord is great. You all should check it out. Cheers, Legendario. Ada. Cardano. Ooh, that's too low. Is this wick on every chart? Is this a thing on every chart, or is this only on Binance? Coinbase. Okay. That looks better. I'm not sure if I have anything going on here, though. No. But this is very limited in information, no? Wait. Yeah. Oh, well, we're just going to deal with the wick. So, what do we have here? Probabilities. This is from a very long time ago. So the high at the moment, 1.32. Oh yeah, if it finishes, so be aware of an impulse, okay? If it finishes below the all-time high, I mean, that quite clearly was the case, could be the top bearish, after which we want to see a motive wave structured to the downside, which is then the first movement here. If price shows a corrective structure to the downside, bullish. As long as structure doesn't change, bulls are in control. I mean, it's about to change. Bearish, okay, I don't know from how long ago. I should actually write my dates in these boxes, I suppose. On the weekly, where we talk, I think maybe we were talking about this being a motive wave to the upside. It didn't even take out that high. I don't know exactly, but you know, it's been a long time. So let's just kind of just like redo. So what do we have? First of all, on Cardano, what we see is a very nice 5-wave structure. Now, this is weekly bullish. This is daily bullish. This is weekly bearish. Okay, so there we didn't get that move up. Let me just remove all of them. Weekly point of controls, okay, this is irrelevant. Such an old chart. Interesting. Horizontals, many of them are touched as well. What do I, oh, I mean, probabilities, levels, doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. Yeah. Rectangle. I mean, this is an order block. I mean, arguably on a multi-month. Okay. So we're, you know, I don't, fuck that. Okay, so this is an order block, right? So you have a range over here before price continues. So this is structural support, very important support for Cardano. If you lose this, go to zero. So, you know, I mean, we're already at zero, at 0.36, but if you lose this support, I don't see a lot of hope. Because you don't really have too much going on down there. You know, sure, there's some horizontals, volume levels mainly sit here as well. So the most interesting place, I mean, honestly, this would be very interesting. Ooh, hello, there we go. Real invalidation is the low here. Target is the high. Right, that's a 1 to 20 RR. It might look funny on the chart, but don't be mistaken. I'm on a logarithmic chart. So this is a 1 to 20, okay? Even though it looks like almost a 1-to-1 because of but this is log chart. So if you risk 1%, which is very sensible because we are sensible people and we're not risking 100% of our life fund. If price goes down, you lose 1%. If price goes up, you gain 20% minimum because the target is the all-time high, basically. So not too shabby. This is a very interesting area. So we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you have an impulse to the upside and price starts correcting, the two most common places price finds support is either wave 4 of a lower degree or wave 2 of a lower degree. Those are the first areas, like the first areas of interest if you just purely use structure. Now then, of course, you can use Fibonacci, volume levels, etc. But structure, wave 2 of a lower degree, is very interesting, which would be this area sitting between 0.16 and 0.07, which from here is still a 50% drop. I mean, it already had a drop of 75%, so you know what's the what's the extra few percent? Anyway, so interesting. Now, because the move to the upside is counted as a 5 higher probability, the question is this C, is this 1, is this A? Well, if this is a wave C, it has to be a flat. A, B, and that's your wave C. C is extremely extended, which lowers the probabilities for it to be a wave C. So if we take a trend-based fib extension, wave C of an expanded flat, you can see like the common target is the 1.618. This is a rare target for a C, but it even moved beyond that. Tolimanu. In that case, is your account new, Tolimanu? I mean, there's mods in here as well, so they can always check the ban list. Because if your account is younger than 24 hours, you get auto ban. Because it's a protection. So then someone has to wait 24 hours. And then we unban you, basically. Okay, so that's the problem. So if you wait 1 day, sorry for the delay, but if you just wait 1 day, you'll be in. Because we'll just make sure to, if you can give us, and maybe the mods or your Woon or someone write it down, if you can give us your Discord name, your username, then we get you out of the list, and then tomorrow at this time you can enter. But because wave C is so long, beyond the 2.618, probabilities are lower, it is a wave C. So probabilities are higher that this is a wave 1 or a wave A, which increases the probabilities to still take out that high. But you're looking for a corrective move down. But this is quite a sharp structure. So hey, we won't be surprised if we like sharp move down. Maybe that's your wave A, wave B, wave C, and then go up. Wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, and then go up. But this is very interesting support. Arguably the most interesting support on the chart. What's happening over here? This is very messy. This by now, of course, looks very ABC-ish. Pump, pump, pump. Very three-wavy structure towards the upside. Did that wick take the low? I don't think so. It just missed out on taking the low. Of course, it got very close. We don't like to count this 1, 2, 1, 2 and up because price here touched the 886 fib taken from the low to the high. That's a low probability target for a wave 2. So probabilities are higher that this is a 3-wave structure. And sure, we can get like a W, an X, and you get a wave Y. It's still bearish because after Y you go down. So, you know, probabilities are higher here on Cardano. You're not yet finished. So also, I'm live now for 2 hours. I think I'm gonna watch the kid very soon. Does eWaves live from good software? I've not tested it. So I don't know, to be honest. I've never checked it out. So far, like the thing is, I think that I am better at the moment than AI. And that sounds very cocky, but I think it's very difficult to create an incredibly good AI. But I haven't tested eWaves. So I trust myself more at the moment than I do with AIs. I would need to test it and check it against my counts, and I got to check the results. So yeah, and I think it's true though for most of the analysts that have been in the market for many years that probably your skills are better than most of the AIs. So I can't confidently say, like, I don't know what eWaves the performance is. It might be very good. I think their target audience, I think, is more like institutional and stuff, but yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna leave soon though. I can hear the kiddo as well. I think mom and kid maybe struggling a bit. I think good for me to get the kid and help mom. You know, she can do some other stuff. So I think I'm gonna wrap things up. I don't add them as a friend. No, it's always scammers. I don't add anyone as a friend. Okay, guys, I gotta go. I can hear it in the background. I think it's good to wrap it up after 2 hours as well. So, thanks everyone. It's been a while. Next time when I'm live, we can do a lot more alts. I'll focus on like an altcoin analysis live stream. So you can chat. Like we'll do that when I'm live next time. But hopefully it was helpful, educational, and trade safe. Right, as always, have a plan, have a strategy. If there's any questions, ask me in Discord, in the comment section, whatever, anywhere works. And then I'll get to your question. If you want to join Discord and it didn't work, just wait 24 hours and you'll be in. But it would be good if you can write your username in this chat so that we see it. Or maybe even better, as a comment below the live stream so that we can write it down. Because we have a long list of banned scammers and stuff and whatnot. So we want to search your username by writing down the exact username. So, yo, Bert, what's up, man? Thanks, guys. I'm glad you guys enjoy. Good luck with the baby. Yeah, no worries, no worries. Probably baby is eating now. So, but I'll grab the kid and then mom can do some other stuff. You know, she gave me time to do a live stream here for 2 hours. So, you know, it's balance. It's balance. She's an entrepreneur as well. So the end of wave 5 of the longer 3. Nah, I wouldn't. I mean, nice question all the way at the end. What's more likely, a finished 5 or another drop? I would at the moment say I would see another drop still for an unfinished 5-wave impulse on the 1 hour time frame. The thing is, the general bias, like I wouldn't short here unless there's a very clear sign, as the general bias is higher once you're looking for 4 5s, that you're looking for a bit of a bounce with or without more lows. It's just more interesting to look for signs of strength at the moment. So even though price can still move down, right, for a final 5 maybe. So okay, thanks everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'm gonna catch you at the next one.